boy. He can change into an animal. Most of the time he lives as a puma. He can become human, but his family doesn't like him doing that too much. There is one strict rule in Krog's life: never go near humans. His family believes humans are dangerous. That's why they live far away, hidden in the mountains. But as Krog grows older, his curiosity grows stronger. He starts wondering, what are humans really like? Why are we hiding from them? One day, Krog finally breaks the rule. He leaves his family behind and enters the human world. Not long after, a kind human couple finds him. They think he is just a lost boy. Feeling sorry for him, they decide to adopt him. Krog now has a new human family, a warm house, and even siblings. At first, everything feels normal. One morning, while eating breakfast with his new family, Krog watches the news on TV. The news is disturbing. There have been mysterious animal attacks, animals behaving strangely, accidents involving different species. No one knows why this is happening. Krog feels uneasy. Something about this feels familiar. That same day, Krog prepares to go to his new school. He says goodbye to his adoptive father and siblings. Then he gets into the car with his adoptive mother, Anna. His sister, Melody, suddenly decides to come along. Krog notices something strange. Two black crows are flying above the car. They don't leave. They keep following them. Krog can't stop staring at them. A thought enters his mind. What if they are like me? What if they are shapeshifters too? As night falls, the family stops at a small hotel to rest. Krog hopes the strange feeling will finally go away, but it doesn't. Late that night, a strange noise wakes him up. He slowly walks to the window and looks outside. What he sees shocks him. A pack of wolves is running fast down the street, heading into a dark alley. At the same time, the lights in the building across the road suddenly turn off. Krog's heart starts racing. He knows this is not normal. The next morning, the family gets back on the road. After hours of driving, they finally reach their destination, Clearwater High School. As soon as Krog steps out of the car, he freezes. The two crows that followed them the entire trip are standing right there, but now they are students. In that moment, Krog knows his feeling was right all along. Before he can react, the school principal, Lisa, walks up to them with a warm smile. She welcomes Krog and then looks at Anna and gently explains everything. She says that nothing was ever known about Krog's real parents. Years ago, when she was working as a social worker, she got a call about a child in danger. When she found Krog, he was scared and shaking. She couldn't leave him behind, so she took him and later convinced her husband to adopt him. As Krog grew older, he always felt different in the city. When it was time for middle school, Anna received a letter inviting Krog to Clearwater High. She believed this school would help him finally fit in and make friends. After hearing the story, Lisa nods and smiles. Then she asks to speak to Krog alone. Once they are away from the others, Lisa tells him the truth. At this school, everyone is a shapeshifter. Krog doesn't have to hide anymore. For the first time in his life, he feels like he truly belongs. But before he can even take it all in, the school alarm suddenly goes off. Lisa rushes outside to check what's happening, and that's when she sees something troubling. Anna and Melody are calmly walking through a restricted area of the school. She is not happy. Lisa quickly orders her assistant to escort them out of the campus at once. Back inside, Krog is completely amazed. This is the first time in his life he has seen so many shapeshifters together in one place. As he walks through the halls, he suddenly bumps into Jeffrey and his pack. The air turns tense right away. Both sides lock eyes, and it feels like a fight could break out at any moment. But before anything happens, James steps in and stops them. Soon after, the school holds an official welcome ceremony. When it's over, Anna hugs Krog and says goodbye. She and Melody walk back to the car just as Andrew arrives. Andrew is a rich and powerful man. He is the one who funds the entire school. Krog meets Andrew shortly after. During their talk, Krog admits something very personal. He says he left the mountains because he felt there was more to life than just being a puma. If he had stayed there forever, he would never have found out who he truly was. Later, Krog reaches his dorm room.
Free, yeah, it's really free. Say one word, 2 words, watch the...
Explains the basic school rules and then leaves him alone. Suddenly, a squirrel appears at his window. Krog lets it inside and quickly realizes it's not a normal squirrel. It's Holly. She has been assigned as his guide and will help him in his first transformation class. In class, the teacher gives a serious warning. Students can only use their powers during lessons. And most importantly, humans must never see them transform. Then Krog is chosen to show his powers in front of everyone. But just before he can transform, Brandon steps forward. Brandon is a bison shapeshifter. He turns into his animal form but can't stay human for long. He quickly loses control, causing chaos in the room. Watching this, Krog starts feeling unsure. He feels disconnected from his animal side and decides not to transform. With Lisa's help, Krog slowly remembers his past. He sees himself running free through the forest with his real family. Those memories hit deep. That connection wakes something inside him. And finally, Krog transforms. At that moment, the principal tells everyone in the room to do the same. That's when Krog realizes the truth. Most of the students here are wolves. Lisa explains his true role. At this school, he will learn how to balance his human side and his animal side. One day, he could become a bridge between both worlds. Later that evening, Krog rests in his room, trying to process everything. Suddenly, Brandon shows up. He casually announces that Krog's new roommate. Not long after, Holly knocks on the door and tells them it's time for dinner. Before coming to the school, he lived as a pet with a human family. Everything was fine until they caught him opening a can of sardines with his hands. After Krog revealed his animal form, many students start respecting him, but some are also afraid of him. For the weaker students, just standing near him feels scary. One small boy, who can turn into a tiny horse, tries to stay unnoticed, but he runs into Jeffrey and his wolf pack. The situation turns dangerous fast. Krog doesn't think twice. He steps in to protect the boy. This only makes things worse. The wolves try to scare him, but James arrives just in time and breaks. Brandon has transformed in his sleep and completely destroyed his bed. Brandon laughs it off and says it happens once or twice a week. Krog realizes his nights here won't be as peaceful as he hoped. The next day, during combat class, Brandon and Borda are picked to fight, but Brandon refuses. He says he's a pacifist and walks away. The teacher then chooses Krog. Krog still doubts himself. Seeing this, Andrew steps in and hands him a small pouch. Inside is puma urine. The moment Krog smells it, something snaps. He transforms instantly. Even though Borda is much bigger, Krog moves faster, strikes harder, and fights with pure will. In the end, he wins. Next, it's Dorian's turn. But the awful smell from his opponent makes the cat run away, giving up the fight. At the end of class, Andrew approaches Krog. Impressed by what he saw, he makes him an offer. Andrew wants to become Krog's mentor. To prove he believes in him, Andrew even gives Krog the pouch of puma urine, saying the boy has a bright future ahead. But someone is not happy about this. Jeffrey watches everything from a distance. Seeing the school's sponsor favor a new student fills him with jealousy, so he challenges Krog. Jeffrey promises that if Krog can beat the wolves in a duel, they will leave him alone forever. That afternoon, Krog meets his friends in the treehouse and tells them everything. Brandon is worried and warns him that fighting could get him expelled, but Krog has had enough of the insults. He refuses to back down. Holly promises to stand by his side, and even though Brandon is nervous, he admits he can't wait to see the wolves finally get what they deserve. That night, the three of them sneak out of the dorms. Before leaving, Krog smells the pouch to awaken his animal side, and transforms. When they reach the duel spot, Krog asks who he'll be fighting. That's when he realizes the truth. It's a trap. Not two wolves, but Jeffrey and his entire pack. Still, Krog doesn't run. He's stronger than any of them one-on-one, but the wolves attack together. They jump him from behind and pile on all at once. Seeing Krog in danger, Holly pushes Brandon off a cliff, forcing him to leap down and help. While Brandon distracts the pack, Krog fights back with everything he has. In the end, the wolves have no choice but to retreat. Jeffrey is defeated. The next morning, James notices several injured students and sends them straight to the infirmary. Their excuses are weak. It's obvious they fought during the night. Just as Krog is about to be called in by the principal, something unexpected happens. Andrew invites him out for a drive. During the ride, Krog realizes Andrew already knows what happened. Andrew tells him the truth. A real puma shouldn't have needed help, even against 4 wolves. Because Krog left his real family too early, he never learned how to hunt. So Andrew decides to teach him. He wants to turn Krog into a true predator. When they return, Lisa stops them. Angry, she forbids Andrew from giving Krog any special treatment. She warns Krog directly. If he wants to stay at the school, he must follow the rules and never fight outside of class again. Later, Holly and Brandon rush over to check on him. That's when Krog notices Lou walking into the forest and decides to follow her. Together, they overhear teachers talking about the recent animal attacks. They are sure shapeshifters are behind them. If humans learn the truth, peace between the two worlds will be over. That's why Lisa and the council must stop the attacks at any cost. On the way back, Krog confesses something important. During his road trip, he saw wolves attacking humans in a nearby town. He is sure it was Jeffrey's pack. The next day, Andrew keeps his promise and takes Krog into the forest. He teaches him how to hunt. First choose the prey, then watch it carefully, and finally, strike at the right moment. Krog succeeds and catches a deer. They share the meal. On the way back, Andrew opens up. He once had a daughter. If she had lived, she would be Krog's age. Later at recess, Lou notices Krog isn't eating. He tells her he already hunted that morning. Hearing this, Lou goes quiet and walks away. She remembers the day a puma attacked her mother, leaving her badly hurt. Feeling guilty, Krog follows her into the forest, trying to make things right, but he can't catch up. That night, Krog hears howls outside his window. It's Jeffrey's pack. Suspicious, he follows them to the nearest town. There, he sees the wolves scare off a guard and sneak into a factory. Just as he's about to confront them, they turn on him. But before a fight can start, Andrew appears. He stops everything, orders the wolves into the car, and drives them all back to the school. Krog to stay behind with him, alone. That's when the truth finally comes out. Andrew admits he is the one behind the recent animal attacks. Hearing this breaks Krog's heart. He feels betrayed and realizes he may never have trusted Andrew in the first place. Andrew then opens up about his past. Years ago, his wife and young daughter were killed by a hunter in the forest. Since that day, Andrew has lived with deep anger toward humans. He believes humans have ruled over nature, destroyed habitats, and pushed many animals to extinction. For 50 years, the school council tried to guide humans to protect nature, but nothing worked. Things only got worse. So Andrew decided to act on his own. During dinner, a woman arrives to serve food. Krog notices she has a mechanical leg. Andrew explains she's a snake shapeshifter who was hit by a car while in animal form. That's when Andrew invites Krog to join his plan. Krog refuses. He says he doesn't want anyone to get hurt. Andrew replies that he doesn't want to kill humans. He only wants to destroy their machines and slow down projects that destroy animal homes. Krog says he'll think about it and agrees to keep the secret for now. The next morning, Krog helps Brandon train in the forest. Wildly, smashing through trees. Suddenly, Brandon gets hit by a car. The car belongs to Krog's adoptive parents who came to visit him. Panicking, Krog rushes over and invites them inside to hide what just happened. Inside his room, Anna spots a squirrel digging through Krog's things. The principal quickly scolds her, reminding her that visits must follow strict rules. Before leaving, Anna tells Krog she'll stay in a nearby town for the weekend and asks him to join her. Krog happily agrees. Later, Andrew calls Krog and invites him to a special event that same weekend. Krog refuses and makes it clear he doesn't support harming humans. Andrew hangs up without a word. Feeling uneasy, Krog goes into the forest to clear his head and practice transforming. Hours later, Wing finds him, worried. Suddenly, a drone appears in the sky. Wing recognizes it right away. It belongs to a hunter, and tracking dogs have already been released. Krog runs and hides in the treetops, but the drone follows him. To save him, Wing destroys the drone and tells Krog to keep running. After a long escape, Krog finally collapses from exhaustion. That's when Shadow, one of the Crow Girls, appears and throws him clothes so he can turn back into human form. With help from his friends, Krog makes it back toward the school, but just before reaching campus, he faints. Andrew finds him and takes him to his house to rest. When Krog wakes up, he tells Andrew about the hunter. A painful thought hits him. What if the same thing that happened to Andrew's family also happened to his real family? That fear changes everything. Krog decides to support Andrew's plan and join his fight. Before their first mission, Andrew reveals something shocking. He has already sent shapeshifters to search for Krog's real family. If they are alive, he promises they will find them. Soon after, Krog gets a call from Anna. She cancels their weekend trip, saying she has an important appointment. At the same time, Brandon and Holly show up, worried about him. They try to talk to Krog, but he has already started pulling away from them. Soon after, Krog leaves with Andrew and the others toward the mine. Once they arrive, Andrew splits the group. Krog is told to scare forest animals away from the area. Jeffrey and the wolves are supposed to force the workers out so no one gets hurt. At first, Krog chases away a few rabbits, but then his heart almost stops. He realizes his adoptive parents are camping nearby. Terrified, Krog calls Andrew right away. Andrew calmly says he saw them far away in the valley and promises they're safe. Still, Krog feels something is wrong. The wolves scare the workers so badly that they flee in a truck. As soon as the humans leave, Derek climbs into the vehicle to release the stacked logs. Krog begs him to stop. If the logs fall, his family could die. At that moment, Brandon and Holly arrive to support Krog.
You always have an option in your pocket with Pocket Broker. Download the app and enjoy trading.
Even more tense. Then Shadow and Wing appear overhead. The wolves panic. They don't want to be reported or expelled, so they abandon the mission and run. Now Lou steps in and tries to reason with Derek. She tells him destroying everything will only make humans fight back harder. But Derek doesn't listen. He shoves Lou. That enrages the crows, who attack him instantly. Furious, Derek transforms into a grizzly bear. Brandon jumps in to protect his friends. Holly joins the fight. Krog, now in his puma form, manages to throw Derek out of the truck. Just then, Andrew steps in. He removes the logs blocking the wheels. The truck starts to move. Krog realizes Andrew is letting the logs fall. Feeling betrayed, Andrew attacks Krog, and the two begin to fight. But suddenly, Krog sees the logs rolling down the cliff, straight toward the valley where his family is. He stops fighting and runs. The logs crash violently down the mountain. Anna screams for everyone to hide, but Melody doesn't hear her. She's wearing headphones. By the time Melody notices, it's too late. The logs are already coming. She screams. At the last second, Krog, still in puma form, leaps forward and pushes her out of the way. Anna runs to Melody, crying with relief when she sees her alive. Melody, shaking, says a puma saved her. Her father insists she must be imagining it. Moments later, Lou and the others find Krog lying unconscious in the forest. For a terrifying second, they think he's dead. Then the big cat opens his eyes. Everyone breathes again. As soon as he can move, Krog rushes to check on his family. That's when Andrew shows up, pretending he arrived just in time. He quickly calls a helicopter to take the family to the hospital. Thankfully, they all survive. Once his parents are safe, Krog explodes in anger. He threatens to tell the headmistress that Andrew is behind the attacks. Andrew then delivers a chilling blow. He has found Krog's real family in the Yellowstone Mountain, and he will only reveal their location if Krog stays silent. Just then, Lisa arrives. Andrew blames everything on Derek, saying he planned the attack. Lisa isn't fully convinced, but police sirens are getting closer. She leaves, promising a full investigation. Back at the school, Krog and his friends are welcomed as heroes. Word of what they did has spread everywhere, but behind the cheers, Krog knows the truth. The fight isn't over yet. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to subscribe to Next Prime Recap and let me know what you think about this movie in the comments.
Real people, real conversations. Chat quickly with local
stories. I've been sitting on this block of ice for hours, and I can't feel my feet. I have a hole in front of me, a black pit that hasn't given me a single bone in 3 days. And my mother is waiting, lying in bed in our dilapidated cabin. Her legs can no longer endure this cold. And if I don't bring her something to eat today, she won't make it past tonight. Hunger won't let me think. I've scraped the bottom of every grain sack in the house, and only dust remains. I'm out here because I don't know what else to do. I'd rather the ice kill me than sit there watching her fade away. Nothing here seems alive. Nothing moves. I grabbed the axe and struck the edge of the hole to see if I could wake something up. But instead of a fish, I woke something else. The water began to move. A dark shape passed beneath my feet. Something heavy that made the ground where I stood vibrate. The ice burst with a sharp crack. I threw myself back as the water splashed my face and burned my skin. Out of that pit came a creature that could not exist, clutching the frozen edge with clawed hands. It's not an animal, no. It's a blue woman, covered in scales, looking at me as if I were her prey. She stayed still, with those fixed eyes that seemed to see into my soul. I couldn't take my eyes off her. Then she reached out a hand and showed me a golden fish that gave off a strong light, a light that warms you just by looking at it. That fish was my mother's life. Fear retreated to a corner and I managed to stammer, "Please, give me the fish. I need to take something home." I didn't expect her to speak. I only hoped she would throw it to me so I could run away from there. But she spoke. "I need something too. I need your warmth." She didn't move. She stayed there, waiting for me to take the first step. She pointed to my chest, and then my clothes. I understood what she wanted. I took off my wool tunic and stood bare-chested against the wind that battered my skin and placed them directly on my flesh. It wasn't a touch. She dug her claws in, just enough so I couldn't move. I felt an axe blow of cold that emptied my lungs and left me breathless. She was stealing my life to warm herself. It hurt so much that I was on the verge of fainting, but I didn't let go. I accepted the pain, because the glow of that fish is the only... She withdrew her claws, and I fell to my knees on the snow. The cold was no longer attacking me from the outside. Now, I had it inside, settled in my chest like a stone. I grabbed the golden fish from the ground. Its skin burned so much it nearly scorched my numb fingers. I put on my tunic in a hurry, with clumsy hands that wouldn't respond, and I started running toward the shore without looking back. I only thought about reaching the cabin before my own body gave out. I entered the cabin and slammed the door shut. My mother was still in the same place, breathing, with that broken whistling that set my nerves on edge. I went straight to the embers. I didn't clean the fish. I threw it into the pan, just as it was. The grease splattered, and the smell of roasted meat filled the room in seconds. My stomach ached from hunger, but I grabbed the pan and went toward the cot. I shook her by the shoulder so she would open her eyes. She opened her eyes. I put the first piece into her mouth with my own fingers because she didn't have the strength even to lift her head. She swallowed without chewing. At the second bite, color returned to her face. She sat up in the cot with a strength she hadn't had in weeks and snatched the pan from my hands to eat the rest. I stood there, watching her devour it, frightened by the speed at which the illness was vanishing. She fell exhausted at once, sleeping as she hadn't in years. I sat before the fire to try to get warm. I put my hands almost inside the flames. I saw the wood burning and my skin reddening, but I felt nothing. The heat wouldn't enter me. I rubbed my arms and looked around. I sat there watching her sleep. At dawn, she got up and seemed cured. She moved through the house as if she had never been sick. But at noon, while she was sweeping, she let out the first cough. She doubled over the broom, and when I went to hold her, I noticed the fever had returned. She looked at me with panic. The medicine was gone. I didn't have to think about it. I grabbed the stick and headed back out toward the ice. reached the same hole. The water had frozen over again during the night. I used the stick to break the layer of ice, striking hard until the black water peeked through once more. I didn't have to wait. The surface broke, and she came out, resting her elbows on the edge as if she were waiting for me. She didn't have the fish in her hand this time. I shouted to her that I needed another, that the fever had returned. She looked at me without moving a muscle in her face. "Heat is no longer of use to me," she said. Her voice sounded deep. "If you want another fish, give me your first memory." She reached out her open hand toward my face. I didn't think twice. I closed my eyes and searched for the image of my mother singing to me in the kitchen when I was a child. As soon as I had it clear in my head, I felt a sharp tug at the base of my skull, a sudden, acute pain. When I opened my eyes, she had sunk back into the dark water. The fish was flapping on the ice at my feet. I grabbed it quickly. I tried to find that image of the kitchen in my head, the one I had just given her, but I found nothing. I knew I had had that memory just a second before, but now it was a blank void. I tucked the fish under my clothes and started my way back. I arrived at the cabin with my heart racing. My mother was lying on the floor near the extinguished fire. I cooked the fish quickly, without saying a word, and fed it to her. She swallowed the last piece and jumped up. The fever left her instantly, but now she had a strange energy. She began to pace back and forth across the room, eyes fixed, without blinking. She looked at me and told me she was hungry, that she wanted more of that. She didn't thank me. She only demanded that I return to the lake for another. That I return to the lake for another. I returned every day. The medicine was consumed faster and faster in my mother's body, so I had to pay higher and higher prices. One day, the creature asked me to steal fire. I stood at the edge of the ice and told her no. I shouted at her, explaining that Ivan has his dogs guarding the warehouse